Well, hello. Are you here for the Carnival Cruise news? There's a lot of it. A lot of stuff's popping off. And I believe it's all indicative of the resummation of cruising. We're going to cruise soon. That's what I believe. That's what I believe these news stories are going to tell us. In today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, let's run down what's going on with Carnival. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Tony. If you enjoy that cruise and travel content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. Well, what's going on with Carnival? Well, they did the old sneaky poo on us. They tried to tell us that there were 2 cruise ships that were just going into layup, but a lot of us said, are you sure you're not selling those cruise ships? Well, now the word has come from on high. The Carnival Imagination and the Carnival Fascination are no more. They've been sold by Carnival Cruise Line. Now, Carnival announced yesterday some earnings information on Q3, and it wasn't good. And part of that earnings information is that even though they had said they were going to sell 13 ships this year, they upped that number. And now we know on the very next day that 2 of those ships was the Carnival Fascination and the Carnival Imagination. And it was a rough day for Carnival stock yesterday. So if you're in the stock market and you're not paying attention to it, start looking, because the cruise stocks are moving again and they're not moving in the positive direction. So check that out if you are an investor. But look, this Imagination sell was not a big mystery. People have been tracking that ship. It did the thing. It did the thing that it does before it goes away. It went to Curacao. It dumped some stuff off, and then it made the trip to Turkey. It's showing up in Turkey where the scrap yards are, and so I'm sure anybody that's been tracking along with the Imagination, not surprised today. That leaves only 4 cruise ships in the Carnival Fantasy class. Those are the smallest cruise ships, the oldest cruise ships in the Carnival Cruise Line fleet. A lot of people love those small, old cruise ships. I've already seen people around the community going, man, if they get rid of all the old small cruise ships, then I got to go on a mega ship. Fear not. There's a lot of different sizes of cruise ships. 4 fantasy class ships left, and then heaven forbid, if you go to a different line, there's also other small cruise ships. So I definitely empathize with the small cruise ship people. I like the small cruise ship experience. I also like the mega cruise ship experience. I like the medium-sized cruise ship experience. I like the tender experience. I like riding the boats at Disneyland. So I guess I'm okay either way. But yes, if you are a small ship cruiser, there's still 4 fantasy class ships that are left. And but some of those have been canceled. That was the other big thing coming out from Carnival Cruise Line. They canceled a bunch of cruises yesterday evening. Now, let me give credit where credit is due. I've been contemplating how the resume to cruising is going to occur. And our good fellow over there at Cruise Radio, Richard Sims, wrote an article the other day saying, be prepared for more cancellations in November and December. I read that article and I said, man, I think Richard is onto something, because what I believe is going to happen is I believe that there's only going to be a few cruise ships that cruise in November and December. And the question is, well, how do you clean the slate? There's a bunch of people with cruises booked. How do you pick and choose who gets to cruise? Well, one way you do is you just cancel a bunch of cruises, and then you got less people. These people that get canceled, obviously they're upset because they're canceled, but at least you have less ships to choose from if you're trying to start cruising up again. And we saw Carnival cancel a lot of cruises last night. 4 ships specifically, they say we're going to wait until really Q1, toward the end of Q1 2021. We're going to do some work on these cruise ships. And so if you had anything scheduled on these ships, November, December, most of Q1, boom, you're canceled. Sorry, boom, no cruise for you. Now you got to work through the cancellation process. Let me tell you which 4 cruise ships those were and when they're going to sail again. All right, here's the 4 ships. First off, the Carnival Magic. Itineraries operating from Miami canceled until March the 13th, 2021. The Carnival Paradise operating from Tampa, that's really close to me. Their itineraries will be canceled until March the 19th, 2021. Fantasy class ship, small ship, keep it in mind. The Carnival Valor itineraries operating from New Orleans, Nolans, that will be canceled until April the 29th, 2021, including the transatlantic cruise from New Orleans on January the 25th and the return from Barcelona on February the 26th. The Carnival Spirit itineraries operating from Brisbane will be canceled through May the 16th, 2021, with the first sailing being the Singapore to Brisbane voyage, embarking on June the 12th, 2021. Carnival going to put some money into these cruise ships. They're going to do a little dry dock activity activity on them, and then they will be back to sailing. So you got like 4 ships worth of itineraries taken off the board right there. And then if you count the Imagination and the Fascination, that's like 6 ships worth of sailings all canceled. People now working through the future cruise credit process or the refund process. Work with your travel advisor or work with Carnival to decide whether you're going to take the future cruise credit or whether or not you are going to get a refund. There's some other things that go along with that. So if you got canceled, make sure you get into that process. But Tony, what does it mean? Is this all doom and gloom? Carnival getting rid of more ships? They're canceling cruises. Does this signal the end? Does this signal the end, the bankruptcy? Does this signal the destruction of cruising? I don't think it does, actually. I think it clears the slate for a return to cruising leaner, simpler. Not as many people going to be hacked off because their cruises already got canceled. This is what is going on in cruising right now. Today is the 16th of September, 14 days until the CDC no-sell order expires. I thought that was kind of tight, but then I looked up the last time that the thing was extended. They did it 8 days before it expired. So don't take any solace in the fact that it's close to the expiration date. They came in 8 days before the last time and they extended it. So we still could get an extension of the CDC no-sell order, but let's live in a world of puppy dogs and rainbows. Say that thing does not get extended and CLIA opens the door for cruising to resume in November, December. I think it's only going to be a few cruise ships. But what I think you're going to see is if the CDC gets out of the way, I think that you will see some cruises going out of Florida, possibly Texas, California in December, in maybe even November, definitely into January. It's going to be a phased return. What are some of the high points? I don't think cruising is going to be cheaper. I don't think you're going to see any discount cruises. I think there's going to be enough demand that people will want to cruise in the bubble under the new protocols just to go cruising. And so I think for a while, cruising is going to be more expensive than it was in the past. People say, oh yeah, we're getting rid of all these ships, therefore cruising is going to go up. The cool thing that you have to remember is these 2 fantasy class ships, they're going to replace the capacity that was available on those 2 ships with 1 new ship. Maybe 3 fantasy class ships with 1 new ship. The Mardi Gras is going to hold a lot of people. So it's a good move at the end of the day for the cruise line to jettison this old technology, these smaller cruise ships that don't have a lot of capacity. The maintenance, the upkeep on those things are out of control, to replace them with newer technology, with newer cruise ships that hold more people. So at the end of the day, the inventory is going to be there from a capacity perspective once these new cruise ships come online. I like the move. There's no better time to get rid of something that's underperforming than when it's not doing anything at all. This has to be an easier time to get rid of these cruise ships than when they're making money week after week. Even if it's not the most profitable operation, it's hard to pull the trigger and say, get rid of this cruise ship because we're sailing it every week. Well, that's not happening right now, and so they're gone. It's tricky, right, to measure the indicators. Carnival, a horrible earnings report, not surprising. They're selling more stock to raise more money. That's never good. The stock price is going down. That's not great. Selling cruise ships, that doesn't sound like a good thing, but I do believe it's like that. It's like at least something's happening, right? At least there's some movement, kind of like when you have a big meal, you finally feel some movement before. Okay, that's probably not the best analogy, but there's stuff that's going on, and I believe that these things I do believe these are indicators that something is going to happen when it comes to the resumption of cruising. I see light at the end of the tunnel. I see cruising resuming in Europe, and I see a path for cruising to resume in the United States. It's going to be a trickle, though. Like, it's only going to start small and then build back up. This isn't going to be an overnight back to where we were, and again, I firmly believe that unless it starts, then it will be a death spiral. It will be a deal where nobody comes back from. But if it starts a little by little, and I do believe some of these moves with these cancellations paving the way for that little by little restart, if that does happen and it is successful, then the industry will come back. And look, I know there's some people out there looking at me like, Tony, you're just a little too optimistic for us. Like, the world really is going down in flames. Like, we're just a couple major catastrophes away from the whole thing being over. And look, I could be that guy too. I could jump on it. There's a lot of negative stuff I could point to, but I'm not going to do it. Let me be the positive side. You be the negative side. We're like one of them 9-volt batteries that you need in your smoke detector, or the thing's just going to keep beeping. You got to have the positive and the negative. I'll be the positive. Anybody wants to be positive with me, come on, but we got to have the negatives too. So sound off in the comments. What do you think? What are these signposts that we're seeing? What does it mean, all these things that are happening with Carnival Cruise Line? Is it a sign of the end, or is it a sign of a new beginning? leave a comment below. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.